Hi, my name is Danielle Boatman, and this is my video presentation for my Capstone 2 class. We were asked to discuss our previous leadership experience prior to the organizational leadership program, as well as what we learned, our current and our future experiences as well. So kind of get us started, excuse me, as far as my previous experience, I've been in leadership roles my entire life since I was a wee little one. But, I started working at 15 and at Six Flags, and by the next season, I was a team lead and then a supervisor. I've been a restaurant manager. In my current employment, I don't have an official leadership role, but I do participate in several committees where I do hold a level of leadership in those environments. I also am currently interviewing for a team lead position in my current department. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I will have a leadership position after this all said and done. I've been told I have leadership skills and qualities and things like that for as long as I can remember. Honestly, I think part of that might be contributed to the fact that I'm considered an extrovert, and I can be outspoken, respectfully, of course. But I just don't mind speaking to people. I don't mind taking kind of charge of things, not so much in a bossy sense, but just in a matter of making sure things get done, and having the ability to speak to people in a way that I don't have to make them do things, but they just want to follow me because they know that overall my interest is to make sure that we all get to the same goal. So I can definitely be influential, and I use those for good reasons. And I think people, I'm trustworthy, and people they respect that. They know that if they speak, tell me something, I'm not going to go and say anything about it unless they want me to, of course. I'm affable. I'm really easy to talk to. So part of the leadership experience that I really like is, the listening part, because in order to be a liaison for people, for their concerns and questions and feelings and all these things like that, you have to be able to listen to them in order to convey the message that they're trying to bring across to whomever they're trying to get it to. So I actually enjoy being that liaison and being able to, for those who can't speak for themselves, for those who won't speak for themselves, and just being able to kind of provide that kind of middleman role for them. So I do like that part. So that's kind of how I've been as far as a leader. That's kind of been my main goal. I'm a people person. I have very healthy relationships. I try to improve my communication skills at all times, just to make sure that, I know what to say, when to say it, how to say it, which is a huge part of the delivery, and knowing, because the delivery, depending on who you're speaking to, can deliver the same message to two different people if they receive it differently. So just knowing how to do that kind of thing. It feels like it's come naturally. I didn't feel like I just was trying to be a leader. It just kind of turns out that way. And sometimes it used to be overwhelming. Now that I've gotten much better at my communication skills and organization skills, it's definitely become a lot easier to handle. There have been positions where I've been kind of shoved into a leadership position, and that's not always enjoyable. Again, it's usually because either there's no one else available, or things like that. But I've learned to kind of take punches as they go, and so even in those positions, I just know that if I end up in that position, and hopefully that's not so much the case anymore, but I just know how to speak to a specific party in order to kind of ease the stress of being forced into something like that. And also to just kind of go over some of the things that I've learned throughout the organizational leadership courses that I've taken. Honestly, to kind of put it in to summarize it, the main thing I've learned is basically the science behind leadership, which, as someone who doesn't, I'm not aiming to be a leader. Or it's in some, and sometimes I am actually, when I am going for a team lead position and things like that, that it's a science to it, and I never thought about it being broken down into terms. And then of course, I'm sure there were theories and things like that, but being able to actually learn about a lot of those theories, like we did in issues in organizational leadership, just being able to take the concepts that I learned in the courses and being able to apply them in a practical experience, like at work and even in my personal life. This is one of the very few degree programs that I actually found quite useful. Not that other degree programs are not, but it's just very applicable for real life experience. And I know that was the way it was supposed to be built. I'm glad that I chose this program because it was perfect. There were several times I was either working on a project or I'll be reading something in a textbook, and the next day I'll be working on a project at work and utilize that very concept that I was learning about the night before. So it's not too many degree programs, unless it's super specific like nursing or something like that, where it's that applicable and it happens that quickly, which also kind of excites me, because sometimes when we get out of class or even get out of school, things like that, we tend to forget a lot of the information that we learned. But I feel like a lot of the information that I learned throughout the organizational leadership program, I'm going to be able to retain the information because I'm utilizing it every day. Except now the only difference is I know what it's called. I know what term to call these processes that that I'm consistently going through, my leader, my mentor, things like that. So just being able to kind of put a face to it, as they say. So I really liked a lot of the projects that we had to work on, a lot of papers that we had to write. Prior to being in this back in school, I hadn't been in school in quite a few years, so writing a paper it was a not new experience, but I hadn't done it in a while. But I'm glad that hopping back into it actually wasn't as hard as I thought, because I was writing about something that I was doing every day. It just made it a lot easier to do the coursework. And there was one class specifically, data-driven decision-making. I like both of them. It was the second one where we had an Excel project that we had to work on, and then accompanying that with a PowerPoint presentation, where we had to kind of analyze all of this information in this Excel spreadsheet. That did one of two things. That did two things. One of them was, I was in my professional career. Just to keep from becoming complacent in my current role, just kind of looking, other than applying for the team lead position, just been kind of having putting some thought to where else I wanted to maybe possibly go in the future within the company. And being a data analyst, and before I took that class, was not even a frame of reference for me. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, but that class kind of helped me understand that was something I was extremely interested in. I really enjoyed doing that project. I was able to improve my skills in Excel, which is something I have always wanted to do, because it can be such a confusing program unless you just know how to use it. So that class kind of helped break that down. And actually, same thing, I was able to use that project, not that specific project, but I was able to apply the information I learned from that project in a real life work experience like a week later. And so I was just really excited about that. And that also helped me kind of get some direction again about what I wanted to do. Also, another class that I really enjoyed was, there was leading change. And in my professional experience there last year, there was a process that was just not working well for everyone. It was inefficient. It was just making everyone's life a little harder. I looked into it a little bit more just on my own time, and just played around with some things, and was able to find a solution that worked a little bit better for us. Honestly, I didn't know the impact on the department would have been as large as it was, but when I brought the solution to my supervisor, he went and spoke with the different departments and see what they could do about it, and it became something that they implemented throughout the company, as far as how a process was done. Now, while I know it was a process for me to come up with the solution, I just didn't even though it was my process, I just didn't realize the very little things that it takes to come up with that kind of process. And that class leading change kind of helped me realize all the work that's been put in those. And it gives me a deeper respect for people who put those things together, especially when there are a whole lot of departments and components involved. Because from financial to sending out memos, emails, getting training classes together, things like that, you just kind of take for granted that it's just done when you need it, and not knowing exactly what's involved in that process. So that was really kind of interesting to look at it from the outside in, as if you were looking at it from a whole organization aspect. So again, it's a lot of the information I just really enjoy from the coursework, because it's just really it's been applicable to my real life experiences. Definitely these capstone classes as well. By far they're the most difficult ones I've had in the program, and I think it's just because everything's coming to a head at this point, and just having to go back over the portfolio and just look at all the things I've submitted and kind of really put a professional stamp on it, but still enjoying it nonetheless. As far as a leader today, I just really want to take, again, I've already been using a lot of the information, but I just really want to be able to not only retain it, and just be able to take that information and just become the best leader I can be. I had an idea prior to the program, but now at this point, I know exactly what kind of leader I want to be. I know exactly what kind of leader I don't want to be. I also, I know. And even it gives me a deeper respect for, I have a very close relationship with my current supervisor and my mentor as well. And it kind of gives me a deeper respect for what they do and how they do it, and the type of leadership skills that they have, and how they lead people, and why people are so receptive of how they work. And so it gives me a deeper respect for them, and it also helps me a little understand a little bit about. I get along with everyone for the most part, but there have been a couple experiences where I did not really care for the supervisor I was working for, or maybe even a coworker at that moment, and. I mean, of course I'm still respectful of their position, but I just may not have care for how they handle things, or how they lead things, or how they speak to people, things like that. But this coursework kind of helped me realize, what those different types of leadership styles are like, and why they're like that, how to deal with the conflict when you're approached with that type of thing, which I think is even more important, because we're not always in a position where we can just get up and leave, or I can't just, I like my job, but I can't just leave this supervisor at this moment. So just learning that conflict resolution to deal with those different types as well. So that's another thing that I want to apply to my leadership type now, and just take that with me throughout my professional career, as I continue to try to climb the corporate ladder, as they call it. And just as far as future actions, I just never feel like you can just be too organized. So I'm definitely want to take that, because I know that's a huge part of leadership. Just know, when I say organized, it's not the physical aspects, but just like actually organizing your thoughts, organizing your words, organizing people, things like that. So organization is a huge part of it, hence organizational leadership. So just putting a conscious effort to become more organized, and then also just become more confident. I really feel like I have a really good solid foundation as far as leadership is concerned, but again, even one of the projects we had to address our flaws, or things we need to work on. So even being confident in knowing what I do need to work on, instead of just kind of walking into a wall, or walking around blindly and not knowing what needs to be addressed. That's just kind of what I want to take into the future. I've been really thankful. I've been really thankful for God bringing me to this position, because like I said, it's just been the most applicable degree program I've been in since in my collegiate career. And I just really thank you for the opportunity for presenting what we have learned, and I hope you have a good rest of your semester.